Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please join us today. Today we'll be covering two chapters. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 56 and 57. So these two chapters cover the complete story of the Syamantaka Jewel and how it was recovered after Satrājit was killed. Please join us for Śatadhanvā.
Ekadashi.
And yes, happy Pandav Nijala Ekadashi to everyone. And this is a day of blessings where we perform great austerities to please Lord Krishna, Shri Radha Krishna, and we get amazing blessings, and of them, two blessings are covered in this chapter. So whoever hears, narrates and remembers Syamantaka Jewel stories, which is given in chapter 56 and 57, they drive away all infamy and their sins are removed and they attain lasting peace, eternal peace. So this is amazing, amazing blessings today. Hare Krishna. Please join us in singing Śatadhanvā. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Janant Kori Vaishnavind ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udiryet
Tato Jayam Udiryet.
Shravtam Swakatha Krishna
Shravtam Sakatha Krishna.
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Hridayantasto He Bhadrani
Hridayantasto Bhadrani.
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Sahritsatam.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya.
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavate Ruttam Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Hare Krishna. Please join us in the recitation of the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 56. The Syamantaka Jewel. Text 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha.
Satrājitaha Swatanayam
Satrājita Swatanayam.
Krishnaya Kritakilvishaha
Krishnaya Kritakilvisha.
Syamantakena Manina
Śyamantakena Manina.
Swayam Udyamya Dattavan
Swayam Udamaya Dattavan. Shri Shukuvacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Satrājita Swatanayam.
Satrājitaha Swatanayam
Krishnaya Kritakilvisha.
Krishnaya Kritakilvishaha
Śyamantakena Manina.
Syamantakena Manina
Swayam Udamaya Dattavan.
Swayam Udyamya Dattavan. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha.
Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Satrājitaha,
Satrājita.
King Satrājit,
King Satrājit.
Swa,
Swa.
his own,
His own.
Tanayam,
Tanayam.
daughter,
Daughter.
Krishnaya,
Krishnaya.
to Lord Krishna,
The Lord Krishna.
Krita,
Krita.
having committed,
Having committed
Kilvishaha,
Kilvisha.
offense,
Offense.
Syamantakena,
Syamantakena.
known as Syamantaka,
Known as Syamantaka.
Manina,
Manina.
together with the jewel,
Together with the jewel.
Swayam,
Swayam.
personally,
Personally.
Udyamya,
Udyamya.
striving,
Striving.
Dattavan,
Dattavan.
he gave.
He gave.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
having offended Lord Krishna,
having offended Lord Krishna,
Satrājit tried as best he could
Satrājit tried as best as he could
to atone by presenting him
to atone by presenting him
with his daughter and the Syamantaka jewel.
with his daughter and the Syamantaka jewel.
So there is no purpose. So we'll read next few translations. Text 2. Maharaj Parikshit inquired, O Brahman, what did King Satrājit do to offend Lord Krishna? Where did he get the Syamantaka jewel? And why did he give his daughter to the Supreme Lord? Shukdev Goswami said, Surya, the sun god, felt great affection for his devotee Satrājit. Acting as his greatest friend, the demigod gave him the jewel called Syamantaka as a token of his satisfaction. Text 4. Wearing the jewel on his neck, Satrājit entered Dwarka. He shone as brightly as the sun itself, O king, and thus he went unrecognized because of the jewel's effulgence. As the people looked at Satrājit from a distance, his brilliance blinded them. They presumed he was the sun god Surya, and went to tell Lord Krishna, who was at that time playing at dice. The residents of Dwarka said, "Obeisances unto you, O Narayan, O holder of the conch disc and club, O lotus-eyed Damodar, O Govinda, O cherished descendant of Yadu." Lord Savita has come to see you, O Lord of the universe. He is blinding everyone's eyes with his intensely effulgent rays. The most exalted demigods in the three worlds are certainly anxious to seek you out, O Lord, now that you have hidden yourself among the Yadu dynasty. Thus the unborn sun god has come to see you here. Shukdev Goswami continued, hearing these innocent words, the lotus-eyed Lord smiled broadly and said, "This is not the sun god Ravi, but rather Satrājit, who is glowing because of his jewel." King Satrājit entered his opulent home, festively executing auspicious rituals. He had qualified Brahmanas install the Syamantaka Jewel in the house's temple room. Every day the gem would produce 8 bharas of gold, my dear Prabhu, and the place in which it was kept and properly worshipped would be free of calamities such as famine or untimely death, and also of evils like snake bites, mental and physical disorders, and the presence of deceitful persons. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami gives the following Shastic reference concerning the bhar. Chaturbhir virbhir kunyajam gunjaha pancha panam panan ashtadharanam ashtacha karsham tam chaturah palam tulam pala shatam prahur bhara syad vimshatis tulaha. 4 rice grains are called 1 gunja, 5 gunjas 1 pana, 8 panas 1 karsha, 4 karshas 1 pala, and 100 palas 1 tula. 20 tulas make up 1 bhar. Since there are about Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So here, in this chapter, we are going to cover 5 lessons, the practical lessons that we can take for life. And I'll quickly narrate each of the lessons, and then we'll be diving each lesson after we cover the story in brief. Hare Krishna. So Shukdev Goswami is narrating this, describing the Syamantaka Jewel story to Parikshit Maharaj, who is fasting for 7 days, 7 nights until death. So again, today is Pandava Ekadashi, right? And we are supposed to be just fasting Nirjala, right? Pandava Ekadashi Nirjala, no water, no food, nothing. But just spend in meditating. So this is a day when we can relish and also appreciate how Parikshit Maharaj was fasting for 7 days continuously and 7 nights. And another place this has happened for 7 days, 7 nights, where people were so engrossed in, Lord Krishna's name, form, activities, pastimes, that they didn't even feel any urge to drink anything or to eat any morsel of food. And when was that? This was when in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna, he lifted Govardhan hill on his, pinky of his left hand. So he held Govardhan hill, as an umbrella above all the Vrindavan Vasis. And all the Vrindavan Vasis were looking at Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna was looking at them with such a loving mood. And everyone was feeling such bliss, transcendental bliss, that didn't even come to know that 7 days, 7 nights had passed. Now there is another even higher pastime of Lord Krishna, where the devotees did not feel any pang of hunger and thirst for 4,320 million years. When was that? You would be surprised. This was the Rasa dance on Sharad Purnima, because Lord Krishna expanded that Sharad Purnima night to be as long as the night of Lord Brahma. And a night of Lord Brahma is the same length as the day of Lord Brahma, which is 4,320 million years. So you can imagine, for such a long duration, the gopis, they did feel fatigue because of constantly dancing and any need to drink anything or eat anything. So they were constantly. So what is a day in our life, right? And how can you easily pass this day? By chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So on this day, devotees, they chant minimum of 25 rounds. So of course, there is no limit of maximum of how many you want to chant. You're welcome to chant as many as you want. Because Srila Haridas Thakur used to chant, how many times? 3 lakh names. So 3 times 64. 192, I believe, rounds. And so here, in this chapter, Shukdev Goswami is revealed that Satrājit somehow offended Lord Krishna. And so as offsetting that offense, he gave his daughter Satyabhama as well as Syamantaka Jewel to Lord Krishna. Now Parikshit Maharaj has very interesting inquiries. He is saying, how did he offend Lord Krishna? And where did he get this Syamantaka Jewel? And why did he give his daughter to Lord Krishna in marriage? So 3 questions, and first question has been answered in the translations itself. The Syamantaka Jewel was given to Satrājit by Lord Vivaswan, the sun god, right? Also known as Sarita, also known as Ravi, and so many other names. And sun is said to be the eye of Lord Krishna. So again, in the universal form, the eye of the Lord is sun and moon. So they are the eyes of Lord Krishna in universal form. So again, you have to understand and universal form is a form manifested for the material affairs, right? In the material universe is how to run the material affairs. So here, first lesson is demigod worship is attractive, right? Satrājit, he was looking for name, fame and glories, and he was a king. So he was a king within the province of Dwarka, and the king of Dwarka, the emperor in this case, or Maharaj, even higher, the king of kings is King Ugrasen. So he is grandfather of Lord Krishna, of course indirectly, because Lord Krishna's father is Vasudev, and then Vasudev's father is Sursen, and Ugrasen happens to be brother of Sursen. So Lord Krishna is residing there, and everybody knows that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we say Dwarkadhish, we always remember Lord Krishna. We don't remember Ugrasen as the Dwarkadhish, because he is the true king. So Lord is the supreme proprietor. Bhoktaram Yatapsam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. So he is the supreme proprietor of all that be material universes as well as spiritual universes. And Satrājit has received this jewel because he is a worshipper of sun god, Vivaswan. And Vivaswan becomes satisfied, so he gives him Syamantaka Jewel and befriends him. He allows him to get to the level of friendly relationship. So when somebody is constantly serving you as a servant, the person becomes very close. And this is evident in Vedic times, when the kings, they used to have this company of their charioteers, right? So these charioteers will always be with the king when they are taking them out, and they will be seeing the various activities of the king. And sometimes the kings would, converse with their charioteers, and charioteers will nicely hear, and according to the level of openness, they will become very close. And so that's why Sanjay, who was a charioteer of Dhritarashtra, became very close and also almost considered as a friend of Dhritarashtra. Also we hear the case in today's time. People keep chauffeurs, like the rich people, they keep chauffeurs. And when they go out, normally chauffeurs is driving them different places. Chauffeur knows what they need. They run around and make sure that all those needs are met. So these rich persons who are keeping the chauffeurs, they become friendly with the chauffeurs. And they are able to reveal their mind at times and get, even advice from the chauffeurs as how they feel about such and such person and how such and such dealing should be done. And at times they give various rewards to chauffeurs when they are pleased. So similarly, Sun God gives him Syamantaka Jewel. Now, what's the potency of Syamantaka Jewel? It has two potencies. First is, first of all is, as we heard in the translation, that it gives how much? 8 bharas of gold, which translates to 170 pounds of gold. We know from Indian calculation 1 tula is 10 grams. So this 8 bharas of gold is a lot of gold. So yes, it is very attractive because Satrājit was looking for name, fame and glories, not realizing that the palace he has been given is given by Lord Krishna and the whole palace is made up of gold. Everyone in Dwarka received golden palaces and the gates had beautiful columns, and on top of the columns they have crystal work. The beds were made of, adorned with jewels like sapphires and rubies and so forth. Yet at the same time he was relishing that he is getting 170 pounds every day. And second was that wherever this Syamantaka Jewel will be, there will not be any famine, any unwanted death or any kind of mishaps like snake bites and so forth. Yet at the same time, in the very next chapter, we hear how that comes out to be always people think that they have protected themselves from our direction, but the very jewel becomes the reason of his death, Satrājit's death. Now in this particular chapter, as Satrājit is coming and he has installed this jewel in his temple and he has qualified Brahmanas worshipping. Now earlier we heard how Lord Krishna transferred everyone from Mathura to Dwarka. And having transferred everyone in Dwarka, he made sure everyone has golden palaces with nice gardens, beautiful roadways and big gardens even there, and nice storehouses for horses, for grains and so forth. Everything is very nicely arranged in Dwarka, and it's a huge land, and it's constantly, even there are jungles, as we'll hear in this particular chapter, where people can go for arcades. So Kshatriyas, they would go to practice their a skill as warrior, and they would shoot at animals. They would incur sins by shooting at animals, and now those sins have to be rectified, so they would perform various kind of sacrifices, and the bodies of animals which are suitable for sacrifices will be used in sacrifices. And by using in sacrifices, the Vedic types, the Brahmanas, they would test the mantras, the qualification of mantras, that they have been pronounced with the right meter, right tone and right mood, that those animals will immediately get human form. So they will transcend all that multiple intermediate births and directly get human form. And in human form we have this blessing that we can attain God, right? The purpose of life. That we can engage in devotional service. By engaging in devotional service, taking shelter of a spiritual master, we can, following the instructions, continue to make spiritual progress and finally attain God by Lord's mercy. So that's the mood of a devotee, and that's the mood of a transcendentalist who is like Srila Prabhupada, who is spreading Krishna consciousness to seek that everyone is able to attain. However, sometimes people get bewildered by name, fame and glories, like Satrājit. He is, instead of installing Vishnu Murti in his temple, he is installing this Syamantaka Jewel that he has received from Sun God. Now it's very interesting that he did not even have Sun God installed in his temple. He had this jewel installed, and the Brahmanas were worshipping this jewel as all in all. So sometimes people have this tendency of worshipping things. In today's world, as soon as a new iPhone version comes out, people are running crazily to buy that. If there is a new gadget that's out there, people are going crazily to have that. And in America, everybody knows, if by mistake you are shopping or somebody's, your card happens to touch someone's car, the person gets really upset. So those kind of things are there. People are more attached. They love things and they ignore people. They use people sometimes. And that should not be the tendency. The tendency is to love people around us and to utilize things in the right purpose. And that should be the mood, which is simple living, higher thinking. So Satrājit, he has come in Dwarka to show off, because when he wears the jewel, whoever wears the jewel in the locket, because of the effulgence of the jewel from a distance, the person appears like fully shining like Lord Vivaswan, the sun god. And so some of the residents, thinking that sun god has come to visit Lord Krishna, they immediately run, and a reputed resident, he informs Lord Krishna, who was playing dice, Chaucer. At that time, that sun god, Savita, has come to see you, O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is identifying Lord's Chaturbhuja form, as Lord Vasudev is holding in his Chaturbhuja form, the conch, Shankha, Chakra, Sudarshan Chakra, the wheel, Gada, the mace, Kaumudaki Gada, and the lotus flower, Padma. And he is saying that you have hidden yourself in Yadu dynasty. So of course, Lord had, very nicely taken birth to satisfy Lord King Yadu, and Lord is there and is living just like any other resident. So this is where it is said that he is hidden, because he is not showing himself as king, rather he is just showing himself as a resident of Dwarka. And so he is so glorified, and then he says that Savita, the sun god, has come to see you. And Lord Krishna smiles mildly, knowing that this is not Savita, this is not Vivaswan, the sun god, rather it is Satrājit, the king who wants to show his fame by putting on this Syamantaka jewel in his locket. So when Satrājit comes to meet Lord Krishna pleads to him that he should, everything that is best, it should be offered to the king. So he requests that you should offer this Syamantaka jewel to King Ugrasen. And Satrājit was so much attached, see, attachment is there, with things, that he ignores this request of Lord Shri Krishna. So right then and there he has committed an offense. And that offense causes his heart to get maligned. So once it just so happens that his younger brother Prasena, he wears this Syamantaka jewel in a locket, and he mounts a horse and he goes to the forest, just to show this opulence as well as. So when he goes to the forest there, a big lion attacks Prasena and kills him, and also kills the very horse he was on. And having killed, now the lions is this shiny things, right? And sometimes people get attracted, all living beings get attracted by what is this shiny. So he picks up this jewel, and he is taking this jewel, and he enters a mountain cave. And as the lion enters the mountain cave, it just happens the rickshaw, Jambavan, was living there. And so he sees this lion entering his cave, so he kills the lion. And he takes this jewel and gives it to his son, who was just a young boy, a toddler, playing for his plaything. So imagine, this is the mood of a devotee. Jambavan is a devotee of Lord Krishna. And, we hear in Ramayana how Jambavan was there. We'll also discuss the birth of Jambavan, as how he was born and so forth. But this is the purpose. This is what he saw the value of Syamantaka jewel, that gives out 170 pounds of gold every day. He gave it to his son to play. And the nurse who took care of son was also focused on taking care of son and seeing that this is a nice toy that he has. And she was not also very much attracted to this jewel. And at that time, Satrājit, because he had previously offended in his heart that Lord Krishna wants this jewel to be given to Ugrasen, and Ugrasen could give it to anyone, so he could not part, right? And that is something that happens, that under the influence of material energy, it is easy to turn away from God. So this is the second lesson. And what happens is, Satrājit, when seeing that his brother Prasena has not returned from the forest, and there's no news about him, he thinks that Lord Krishna was asking for this Syamantaka jewel, so maybe he has taken it by force from my younger brother Prasena and has killed my brother. So he spreads this rumor everywhere. And when the rumor spreads, Lord Krishna does not like this rumor defaming him. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But also it also teaches us that in this material world, even God is not spared. When he himself appears, even he is not spared. He just got married to Rukmini Devi and he is living very nicely. Comes a king, Satrājit, wearing this jewel. All Lord asks is you should give it to the king because everything that's best should be offered to the king as a gift. And he refuses that. Now that he has lost it, he is defaming Lord Krishna. So you can imagine, newlywed, he is getting so much, even God is facing such a defamation. So he is getting defamed in this manner. The rumors are spreading. And these same Dwarkavasis, the residents of Dwarka, who have received palaces to live in, no rent has been charged. Even they are believing what Satrājit is saying. They are not opposing to that thought. So even there is a saying that kuch to log kahenge, people gossip. And even in such a esteemed place where they have the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is living with them just like another resident, this is where familiarity breeds contempt. It comes into picture because when you don't have respect and we don't have loving exchanges, and you become, very proud of what you are attaining, even though as a mercy of God. And the Lord is giving you as mercy various amenities, various facilities that are meant for him to enjoy, but he is openly sharing it with living entities. They become proud and thinking that he is living just like us, so he must be just like us. That's why materialists, sometimes the atheists, they think that Lord appeared as human being, so he must be human. And then they try to derive, if we can do this, that's what Lord can do. If he is doing something more than that, then there is something wrong. So if Lord is performing, this is Parakar Sahajiyas mentality. That if Lord is performing Rasa dance, then we can also imitate Lord and perform Rasa dance with young girls. And that is abominable act. Well, if you really want to perform Lord's act, why don't you hold, Govardhan Shila, or even a stone of 200, 300 pounds for 7 days, 7 nights on your pinky and see if you can do it. They can't do it, but then they want to also use the facilities of Lord for their sense gratification. And this has been condemned in the Shastras again and again. Sometimes people, they take to, sustaining their life in the name of God just by, getting donations, and that is not meant for serving Lord, but rather meant for sustaining themselves. And this is highly condemned. And material amenities, they don't lead to happiness, as we are seeing, because Satrājit had this jewel for quite some time. He has abundance of gold. Yet at the same time, he is unhappy. And in his unhappiness, he is spreading unhappiness, right? He is spreading this rumor and defaming the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the supreme proprietor of all that be. He is the cause of Vivaswan. And not just one Vivaswan, innumerable Vivaswans, like innumerable sun gods who are in various planets. And these sun gods have innumerable such jewels. Yet at the same time, just for one jewel that Satrājit has received from sun god, he is causing all this defamation. And Lord Krishna does not like this. So he decides to take some of the prominent inhabitants or residents of Dwarka, and he goes to the forest with them. And what does he find? He finds that Satrājit has been killed by a lion and the horse has also been killed by a lion. But they don't find the jewel at, where they were killed. Yet they were able to see the footprints of this lion. So they follow these footprints, and outside a mountain cave, they see that the lion is dead also. It has been killed. And it has been killed by bare hands or by a rickshaw. Rickshaw means a bear, a king of bears. And this is Jambavan, right? So again, this is where they understand that a rickshaw has, with his bare hands, has killed this lion. And he has gone inside, walked inside the cave. Now the cave is very dark and long. So the residents, the inhabitants of Dwarka, the associates of Lord Krishna, they are not ready to walk inside. They are feeling fearful. They are with Lord Krishna, yet at the same time they are fearful. Well, Lord says, why don't you wait for me here? I'll go and see who has taken it and I'll retrieve the jewel. So Lord Krishna, he walks into that tunnel, this cave in the mountain. And when he walks inside the cave, what does he see? After some time in the openings, nice wide space, he sees that a boy, a young boy, is playing with the jewel as a toy. And right next to him is his nurse sitting. So Lord Krishna appears there and he is about to go and take the jewel from the boy. And the nurse, seeing that a person has just come in, a man has just walked in and is about to take away the jewel, she cries out, in anxiety and in fearfulness that he is going to harm or, do something. Hearing this cries of the nurse, Jamvan comes rushing there, and he's in anger that an intruder has come and is about to harm my son or his nurse. So in his anger, he sees Lord Krishna and he immediately starts attacking Lord Krishna. So at that time, Lord Krishna sees Jamvan, and that as Jamvan is attacking, Lord Krishna fights. So this fight is an amazing fight where they are first fighting with weapons. They are fighting with maces, gada, clashing like lightning. And it is described by Srila Prabhupada that this fight was like two hawks are fighting over a edible corpse for them. So when there is a corpse and the hawks are trying to enjoy, even though they sufficient, they both can, but they heartily fight with each other. Just like that, Jamvan is fighting with Lord Krishna and Lord Krishna is fighting with Jamvan. And they are fighting with these maces, the maces break, they are fighting with different kind of weapons, all these weapons shatter during this fight. Then they are picking up stones and hitting each other with boulders. And even they are exhausted and broken to pieces. Then they start uprooting trees and they are fighting with trees, hitting each other with the tree trunks. And even those are gone. Now they are fighting with arms and hitting each other with fists. And it just so happens that as they are fighting, none of them seem to be getting tired. But after some time, with the blows of Lord Krishna, Jamvan starts to feel fatigue. He is feeling tiredness and he is feeling, this is... And he knew that he has immense strength. He was aware of his superpowers. And he's wondering, who is this personality I'm fighting with? And he is fighting with such an amazing power and he's not showing any sign of fatigue, and I'm getting fatigued. And at that time he remembers that he had wished, when Lord Ramchandra was fighting so expertly with Ravan and with all the Asuras, at that time he had this wish that one day he would like to fight with Lord Ramchandra. But since he was on the side of Lord Ramchandra, there was no way he could fight. So maybe this is the boon that Lord Ramchandra is fulfilling, giving him this pleasure of fighting with Lord. So he immediately, understanding that this is none other than my Lord Ramchandra, he is here and he is blessing me with my boon that I was asking during this Lanka war. And so he starts glorifying Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna smiles, understanding that Jamvan has understood. Srila Prabhupada reveals, and the Acharyas reveal, that actually when Lord Krishna was satisfied, he reveals himself to Jamvan. At that time, Jamvan realized that this is the boon that is being fulfilled. He had asked for this boon, when he appeared as Jamvan and Lord Ramchandra's times, and now this is getting fulfilled. And he immediately starts paying obeisances to Lord Krishna. He says, oh, this is none other than my dear Lord Ram, who is so expertly fighting, with the Asuras, the demons in Sri Lanka, and who, chopped off the heads of this Ravan, the king of the demons, Lankadish, and killed this Ravan. This is none other than my dear Lord Ram. And at that time, Lord Krishna smilingly starts pressing his arms with his own arms. So this is Lord, when he is happy. He's reciprocating, he realizes that Jamvan is feeling a lot of fatigue. How many days did they fight? They fought for 28 days. And with Lord Krishna massaging Jamvan's arms and shoulders, Jamvan is feeling his strength coming back. And he is in complete bliss, seeing Lord Krishna, who is here, none other than Ram, and he is, bestowing such a wonderful mercy on Jamvan with his personal presence, with his personal association. And Jamvan is in complete bliss. Now what had happened was, outside the cave, the residents of Dwarka, they waited for 12 days. And then they thought that something bad must have happened, something unfavorable. And so they returned back. While here, for 28 days, they were fighting inside. So 16 days beyond the wait those residents had. And then Lord Krishna reveals to Jamvan as how he was being defamed because the jewel was lost. And he calls Jamvan the king of the jungle. Why? Because Jamvan is the true king who had killed the lion, not the lion as the king of jungle, but Jamvan is the true king because with bare hands Jamvan had killed the lion. And Lord Krishna, when Jamvan understanding that Lord Krishna is being defamed, he of course offers back this Syamantaka jewel to Lord Krishna, and he also offers his daughter Jambavati in marriage to Lord Krishna. So this is a charity, Kanyadan. He's giving his daughter the very dear object. Not just, he didn't that Syamantaka jewel dear at all. He's a devotee of Lord Krishna. So he didn't even consider at all. He gave it to his son to play. While the same jewel was used by Satrājit to install in a temple and being worshipped day and night. So that had almost become the god, definition for Satrājit. Here he is giving the jewel without any objection and also giving his daughter, his most beloved daughter, in marriage to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna is very pleased. And when a devotee offers with love and devotion, Lord accepts, right? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayachiti tadaham bhakta upritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Lord Krishna reveals to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that when one offers with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or a little water, I accept it. The most important ingredient are not these four, but rather love and devotion. He is, looking at our bhav. And Bhakta Vatsalya, that's one of the characteristics. Lord loves his devotees, keeps them close to his heart, on his chest. So, Lord Krishna accepts both of his offerings and he returns. What has happened in the meantime is all these residents, after 12 days of wait, they returned to Dwarka. And they narrated that we found Prasena's body and the horse being killed by a lion. We also found a dead lion outside a cave. Then Lord Krishna went inside the cave. For 12 days we waited, thinking now something bad must have happened. We returned home. Now everyone is very much attached to Lord Krishna. It is as if now they realize what a blunder they have done, right? By blaspheming Lord, by spreading this rumor. And now everyone is calling ill names to Satrājit. King Satrājit is now he is on the receiving side. Mother Devaki, she is lamenting and crying. Father Vasudev, he is crying and he is, upset. King Ugrasen, the grandfather, he is upset. Susan is upset. All of them are so upset and lamenting. And think of Queen Rukmini. She is the first queen. She just got, married to Lord Krishna. She came here. Her husband is getting defamed. He is going and not returning, and people are telling that he may have died, or he may have left forever. And she is in such a grief. She's stricken state. So this is where, what is happening to her, and everyone is calling ill names to Satrājit, that this is what he did. There was no way that Krishna was responsible for killing his brother. It was killed by a lion. Everybody knows that. And even lion was killed by a rickshaw. And now Lord Krishna has gone to retrieve your jewel for you. Instead of you doing that job, you defamed him. You caused him to take this step, and now he may have left us. So everyone is cursing, calling him ill names. And so everyone, when people get bewildered, they take shelter of higher power. So they all take shelter of Goddess Chandrabhag, another name for Goddess Durga. So they start praying to Goddess Durga, Goddess Chandrabhag, and Goddess becomes satisfied. Now, and she gives them this boon that Lord Krishna will return, very smilingly. And simultaneously, as they receive this boon from the Goddess, Lord Krishna walks in. So there is great jubilation, and everyone is embracing, and this again, they were crying before, but now these tears that they are shedding now are tears of joy, because they are feeling as if somebody, a relative, has come back from the mouth of death. So they are embracing Lord Syamantaka Jewel, but also that he has a new wife, Jambavati is there. So they are, jubilant, and great festivities are happening. Now think of Rukmini Devi. She is an expansion of Goddess of Fortune. Lord's Allahadini Shakti. And she's first of all is in lamentation that Lord Krishna has disappeared, just newly wedded, and he has disappeared. So she is, and now when he comes back, he comes with another queen. Yet at the same time, in materialistic case, a wife would get upset with the husband. But this is in spiritual terms. She is a devotee of Lord Krishna. She is jubilant to see Lord Krishna and she is ignoring everything else. As we'll hear later on, that Lord Krishna reveals that of all the queens in Dwarka, she is the topmost queen. While the head queen is said to be Satyabhama, and we'll come to that, how she happens to be the head queen. So here, Lord Krishna has returned and retrieved the Syamantaka Jewel, and then Lord Krishna reveals in the assembly, that the whole story of how he retrieved Syamantaka Jewel, how they found Prasena killed by a lion, the horse on which Prasena had gone to the forest was killed by a lion. Lion had taken the jewel, but outside the mountain cave, Vriksha, Jambwan had killed this lion and had taken this jewel and given it to his son as a toy. And that Lord Krishna went in, he had to fight for 28 days. Finally, Jambwan understood who he is and gave him the jewel as well as his daughter, the true jewel. That was his heart he is pouring. Jambwan is giving his heart, his love to Lord Krishna in the form of his daughter, his most beloved object of affection. And Lord Krishna, accepts it. And now everyone, and then he gives this jewel to Satrājit. And Satrājit at that time in the assembly he stays silent. He has no words to express how he is feeling, the humiliation he is feeling for having spread such a rumor. He kept his head bowed down. He did not lift it. He was constantly, feeling shameful for his grievous act of spreading such a rumor and having even thought that Lord Krishna could do something like this. And Lord Krishna gives him the jewel. And now everyone is jubilant in Dwarka except for one person. Who's that person? King Satrājit. Now King Satrājit had this Syamantaka Jewel, which said that if whoever has this Syamantaka Jewel would not have any kind of famine, any kind of snake bites or any unwanted, untimely death or any of that. But the distress was not covered. Right? So he is in complete distress and he is thinking, how can I regain this? What is the use of this jewel? I have this jewel, but now I am feeling completely crushed. He's a king, he's a Kshatriya, and for Kshatriya, the pride is the biggest thing and his pride is getting crushed. How do I regain this pride? So he comes up with a plan. He decides that he would give the Syamantaka Jewel with his daughter Satyabhama. Now the interesting thing is, he had promised Satyabhama in marriage to many personalities. And this is where the previous birth comes in. So there used to be very great Brahman astrologers. So this was revealed at that time itself. The Satrājit in his previous birth was Dev Sharma. He was a Brahman, a very qualified Brahman in Prabhas Kshetra, Haridwar area. And so there he was, having students, and one of his students was Chandra Sharma. And he had a daughter Gunvati. So after Chandra Sharma received education, he married his spiritual master's daughter, Dev Sharma's daughter Gunvati, and they were living together, all three of them. And Dev Sharma and Chandra Sharma were worshippers of sun god Vivaswan. Now, you would say, okay, so Satrājit in his previous birth was a demigod worshipper and he was worshipping the same sun god Vivaswan. Now also he is worshipping sun god. However, it just so happened that Satrājit and Dev Sharma, who was Dev Sharma, and Chandra Sharma, together, these two Brahmanas, they went to the jungle to collect dry wood for fire sacrifice. And a demon killed both of them. So, in the next birth, they appeared as Satrājit. And who is Chandra Sharma, who was the husband of Gunvati? He appears as Akrur. And who is Gunvati? So, Gunvati, was constantly worshipping Lord Vishnu. And once when she was going to take bath near the bank of Ganges, her leg slipped and she was in her 80s, really old age. And so she died. However, since she was a worshipper of Lord Vishnu, she went to Vaikuntha planets and became a very close associate of Lord Vishnu. So he granted her to appear as Satyabhama. So in Satyabhama, you will see three personalities. She is a direct expansion of Radharani in Aishwarya Bhav, Gunavati as a Jeev Tattva also is there, and then Mother Bhumi. So from her also happens to be the expansion of Bhumi. So all three in one. So as we heard about in the case of Karna, he has two Amsha of Vivaswan as well as Dambodhbhava Rakshas. So both the personalities are there. So when we see great qualities in Karna, we are actually appreciating the great qualities of Lord Vivaswan, Suryadev. And when we are seeing the bad qualities, the demonic propensity, the association of Duryodhan, and he is liking those kind of activities, always planning, to cheat someone or to kill someone, the Pandavas especially, that is the Dambodhbhava Rakshas, the demoniac propensity he is showing. So at different times, different propensities become, more prevalent, and we are seeing those. And we don't like Karna when he shows those kind of, characteristics as a demon. So here, Gunavati is, appearing in Satyabhama. And Satrājit had, promised many individuals. So Akrur was also an individual. He was a married person, but he was also hoping that Satyabhama will be given to him in charity because she happened to be his wife in a previous birth. And then there is Kritvarma and many other great kings who were hoping that they would get Satyabhama in marriage as wife. And Satyabhama had very wonderful, great qualities. So she is, of course, an expansion of Radharani in Aishwarya Bhav. So she has all the auspicious qualities, auspicious characteristics, and very, and as a Kshatrani, she is also very strong in her motive. And when a Kshatrani, takes on a vow, she really carries through it. So she is, highly regarded. She is very beautiful. And her father is so rich, so of course everybody wants such an association. Yet at the same time, Satrājit thinks that to nullify and to bring back my lost fame, I should offer her to Lord Krishna in marriage. So this is what he does. The very next day he offers his daughter in charity. He does Kanyadan of his daughter Satyabhama to Lord Krishna along with the jewel. So nicely wedding is being performed and Lord Krishna accepts Satyabhama as his queen. So now he has three queens. Rukmini Devi, now we have Jambavati, and now Satyabhama, three queens. Satyabhama, being a Kshatrani, becomes more like, as we see other queens coming in, she takes on the lead. And there are wonderful stories about Satyabhama. And Brihad Bhagavatamrita also, there are wonderful stories. We'll cover some more stories as the time permits. So here, this is where this chapter ends and the next chapter starts. Now, as we understood that Satrājit had given his daughter in marriage to Lord Krishna. Now, there are some personalities who are upset. So they start planning things, right? So, now one of the thing is, the Syamantaka Jewel is returned back to Satrājit by Lord Krishna. He says that, why don't you install it in your temple? We have no use for this. And keep it in your temple so that you can enjoy the opulence from the gold that you get. And also all the residents of Dwarka, they will get the benefit that wherever this jewel is there, that there is no famine, no calamities from the weather, no adi-daivik miseries, by the natural disturbances or even untimely death. So Satrājit is keeping. But some personalities, especially Akrur and Kritvarma, they are upset. Now, why is Akrur and Kritvarma, they join in to make a plan to take away this jewel from Satrājit? Because their perspective is that he had not offered it properly to Lord Krishna. And so they themselves cannot do anything, so they hire they go for a hired gun, basically. They have Śatadhanvā, who is a highly sinful person and has abominable characteristics. say, so they pay him to come in and join in their scheme and be the doer, so carry out murder on their behalf. So they send Śatadhanvā to Satrājit's palace to kill him and retrieve Syamantaka Jewel. Now somebody could say, how could a Krur, who's a devotee of Lord, appearing as his uncle in a higher position than Lord Krishna, do such a thing? So Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas explained that because when he had taken Lord Krishna and Balaram from Vrindavan, right, he had gone being incited, being summoned by Kans, he had gone to take Lord Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura. The residents of Vrindavan, especially gopis, they had cursed a Krur. And they had even said that what kind of mother would have given birth to such a snake-like son who is taking away our life and soul? So they had cursed him. So their curse was coming into effect that he was engaged in making this heinous plan, plotting against killing someone, such a sinful act. And somebody could say, Kritvarma was a great devotee of Lord Krishna as well. How could he engage? Well, Kritvarma was a close, intimate associate of Kans, and your association defines you. Since Kans was a demonic person, those demonic qualities in a subtle manner transferred over to Kritvarma. So even though the focus was that he had not offered Syamantaka Jewel properly to Lord Krishna, if he had offered it to Lord Krishna with the proper mindset, Lord Krishna would have not have returned it. But because Lord Krishna saw that he is still attached to the jewel and he is not really ready to part with the jewel, so Lord Krishna returned the jewel to him. Realizing this, they make this plan and they send Śatadhanvā, in the middle of night. Now what has happened is, when they are making this plan, they have to make sure that Lord Krishna and Balaram are not there, right? So things are happening in a very nice sequence where Lord Krishna and all the residents of Dwarka, they hear this sad news that in Hastinapur, the Pandavas and Queen Kunti, they were sent to another place, another city, where they were in a house, a palace made up of shilak. And lakh has this characteristic that it is inflammable. So when they were resting at night, the whole palace caught fire and they got burned. So Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram knew that Pandavas were safe and Queen Kunti was safe, but at the same time to participate and show sympathy to the grieving, relatives in Hastinapur, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, they leave for Hastinapur. And there they go and meet Bhishma Pitamaha, Uncle Vidur, and of course they are meeting the residents, the relatives in Hastinapur and grieving, sympathizing the grieving relatives of theirs. And they knew that this is all planned by Dhritarashtra and his evil son Duryodhan. Yet at the same time, they're just, more focused on, sympathizing with and, giving their association to the grieving relatives. And at that time, when they are out of Dwarka, one night, Śatadhanvā, he enters the palace of Satrājit. And he's about to kill Satrājit, and he has held him captive. And all the women in the palace, they were calling out for mercy that don't kill him, don't kill him. Yet at the same time, Śatadhanvā, being a murderer by his very characteristic, he butchers Satrājit. And Satyabhama sees it with her own eyes how her father has been killed by this man, and he takes away the Syamantaka Jewel. So this Śatadhanvā, the thief and murderer, also takes away Syamantaka Jewel. And so Satyabhama, she is heartbroken and she is crying, "Oh my dear father, how you have been killed so like a butcher kills an animal in that manner, so grievously you have been killed." And so she preserves his body in a tank of oil. And she heads over to Hastinapur. So this is a Kshatrani bhav, right? She wants to avenge her father's death, and the person who is going to avenge it has to be her husband. He's going to Hastinapur. There she narrates the whole incident that has happened to Lord Krishna and Balaram. And then when Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, they hear about this, they immediately return back to punish Śatadhanvā. And Now Śatadhanvā, hearing that Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram are here, what is he going to do? He's thinking that these are the, great personalities and there is no way for me to escape. So let me take shelter of my masters. And who are his masters? He's a hired gun who has been employed by Kritvarma and Akrura. So first he goes to Kritvarma, and Kritvarma says, I'm a devotee of Lord Krishna. And when Lord Krishna, he was destined to kill Kansa, nothing could save Kansa. He had so many demonic friends, so many powerful warriors all around him, but nobody could save him. So I cannot save you from Lord Krishna. Rather, I will be killed if I try to give you shelter. So I cannot help you. So at that time, Śatadhanvā, being disappointed, he runs to the house of Akrura. And there he expresses to Akrura to save him, give him shelter. And Akrura says, sorry, I cannot help you. So this is the sorry state of Śatadhanvā, who is the hired kill in this case, and he's running around. He's realizing here's this Syamantaka Jewel giving him 170 pounds of gold every day, but that gold cannot save him. And it is becoming the cause of his death now. So he hands over the jewel in the guardianship of Akrura and he runs away. So as Lord Krishna and Balaram, they return, they come to know that Śatadhanvā, he has taken a horse that can run for 400 miles non-stop, right? In a single, without any break, this horse can run 400 miles. Well, Lord Krishna, gets on his chariot driven by Daruk. And as we heard in the case of Rukmini, when Brahman had brought the news, the love letter from Rukmini, Princess Rukmini at that time, Lord Krishna had taken this chariot which has gone on, non-stop all the way to 1,000 miles. And Lord Balaram comes with him. And they are chasing Śatadhanvā. And finally, Śatadhanvā, after some time, as he's being chased, his horse gives way, means his horse dies, falls on the ground. So Śatadhanvā starts running, fearing for his life. So Lord Krishna, he also gets down from his chariot and he runs after him and he invokes his Sudarshan Chakra and, beheads Śatadhanvā. So his head has been cut off, he's fallen dead. And at that time, Lord Krishna looks on his personality and he doesn't find this Syamantaka Jewel. And then he reveals it. See, he already knew that. But it was his duty as husband of Satyabhama to avenge his father-in-law. And also in the scriptures, very nicely, Acharyas have said that Lord Krishna punished him duly because he had killed a much higher living entity, right? So King Satrājit was a much higher elevated being. And when someone kills such a high personality, a highly elevated personality, then this is the punishment. And now sometimes devotees, they use this saying capital punishment is right. Well, in today's time, many people are giving this punishment wrongly. There are a lot of corrupt people here, or even misled, deluded people, that they just want somebody to be hanged. And even a person who is innocent is sometimes hanged and given capital punishment. So in today's time, it is not recommended. We should understand it. Yes, capital punishment is good for the murderer who has committed the act. But if you do not know that the person has has murdered someone, and if you just want to hang that person, just for your satisfaction, for solace that your heart will be satisfied that somebody got punished. Now that is a given crime and you become a murderer. Even one who agrees with that such and such person did the heinous act and should be given capital punishment, and if that person has not committed that murder or that heinous act, then you get the sin of the murder. So you have to be very, very careful. When you are supporting capital punishment, it has to be, supported with the right mindset. In today's times, innocent people are being hanged and being, given this capital punishment. So we have to be very, very careful. And Srila Prabhupada always tells us that we need to understand and that in this material world, we have imperfect senses. So we have to be very cautious on our acts, and this material energy is very attractive. And sometimes even that, even an act like this can be very harmful for our spiritual advancement. It can set us back by decades, not if years. So also here we hear, as Lord Krishna has punished him correctly, because he knew that Śatadhanvā is the murderer of Satrājit, and this was the right punishment. By having killed this Śatadhanvā, Śatadhanvā of course returns back home, one of the Vaikuntha planets, in awe and reverence, worshipping Lord. At that time they were very close to Mithila, right? And the kings of Mithila were all called Janak. So Janak Maharaj, who was father of Sita Mata, his father was also called Janak, his sons were also called Janak. And so Lord Balaram says that I would like to visit my friend in Mithila. And so he goes, and for several years he stays in Mithila, being welcomed by Janak Maharaj. So this is a descendant of Janak Maharaj, father of Mother Sita. And this is where Duryodhan comes and learns how to fight with mace, Gada, Yudh, by Balaram, Lord Balaram. So this is where he accepts Lord Balaram as his spiritual master, as his instruction guru, instruction teacher, where he takes instructions on how to fight with a mace, with a Gada. Well, Lord Krishna returns back, and then what happens is, as soon as Kritvarma and Akrura come to know that Lord Krishna has killed Śatadhanvā and he has not retrieved the Syamantaka Jewel on the very being of Śatadhanvā, then he would be coming for Jewel and the people who plotted all this heinous act. So they immediately leave Dwarka. And Akrura has this jewel on him, right? And so he goes, and as soon as he leaves, there were various disturbances that start appearing in Dwarka. Now this is a superfluous influence, because where Lord Krishna is there cannot be any infamy or any kind of natural disturbances. However, the residents, are feeling that suddenly there is mental disturbances, there are things that are happening that are not right. And they are saying that this is because Akrura left. Why? Because Akrura is son of Shopalka, and Shopalka is a great personality, his father. And there is a story behind how great he is, that where he is, there cannot be any infamy or anything like that, and natural disturbances will not be there. Once it just so happened that in Kashi, in Vanaras, the king of Kashi was seeing that great calamities were falling in Kashi. There were constant famine, diseases, unwanted things, natural disturbances were occurring. And he consulted the Brahmanas, his advisors. And at that time he came to know that Shopalka, wherever he resides, these disturbances don't reside. So the king of Kashi, he invited Shopalka, father of Akrura, and married his daughter to Shopalka, right? So he gave his daughter in charity and asked Shopalka to stay there. And when Shopalka was staying there, all this famine and all the natural disturbances, they went away. So they said, well, like father, like son. So Akrura must have the same characteristic. Now that Akrura has left, that is the case happening. Now Lord Krishna also sends his messengers behind Akrura, and he comes to know that Akrura is performing great sacrifices very effulgently. Because Akrura, because of the Syamantaka Jewel, he was getting 170 pounds of gold every day. So he was performing great sacrifices and giving a lot of charity because of so much gold that he was getting. So Lord Krishna understood that it was not because of the effect of Shopalka, but rather it is the effect of the jewel. So he sends his messenger to Akrura, asking him to return back to Dwarka with full assurance that he has no need to fear for his life or anything. So Akrura, when he hears this, he comes back, understanding that this is none other than Lord Krishna. If he had received this message from Kans, he would have been still afraid, because Kans was a politician. He would call you as a friend and then kill you. But this is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has everything. Why would he do something like that? And he has seen Lord Krishna in his Vishnu form and Lord Balaram in his Shesha form. So he knew that the words of Lord Krishna he will follow through. So, being so assured, Akrura returns back to Dwarka. And at that time, he directly goes to Lord Krishna's palace and he meets with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, now you could say which particular palace he went to.
right? Because Lord Krishna has 3 queens, he has 3 palaces, he expanded into 3 forms. So there is Lord Krishna with Queen Rukmini, there is Lord Krishna with Satyabhama, and there is Lord Krishna in the 3rd palace with Jamvati. So he goes to the one in Rukmini Devi's palace, and there he goes and immediately meets Lord Krishna and asks for forgiveness. And at that time, Lord Krishna says, "My dear uncle, there is no need for you to be fearful. And I know that Śatadhanvā had given you this jewel before he left. So knowing that Lord is residing in everyone's heart, he knows everyone's business. So I know my business, you know your business, but Lord knows everyone's business." So he reveals. And of course, Akrura, understanding that yes, of course, Lord knows everyone's business, he knows about this, he is now anticipating what's next. And Lord Krishna says, "See, my wife, Satyabhama, will never be satisfied." So this is another reason he did not go to Satyabhama's palace. Because if he had gone to Satyabhama's palace, Satyabhama would have incited Lord to punish him. So he goes to Rukmini Devi's palace, and this is where Lord Krishna is revealing that Satyabhama will not be satisfied unless this jewel is found. So please give me an opportunity to show it to all my relatives and everyone in Dwarka that this jewel is with you and it will stay with you. So Akrur agrees. So next day in the assembly hall, Lord Krishna brings Akrur in front of everyone and asks Akrur to give him the jewel. And when Akrur takes it out from the cloth he was keeping it in, Lord Krishna shows it, the shining jewel, to everyone that it is with Akrur, and then he returns it to Akrur. And this is another place where it has been revealed by the Acharya. Also Shukdev Goswami reveals that Akrur was also a devotee of Sun God in his previous life as Chandra Sharma, who was a disciple of Dev Sharma. Dev Sharma was Satrājit. Satrājit is dead. So now the jewel is passed from one disciple of Sun God to another disciple of Sun God. Lord Krishna has nothing to do with it. So he gives this jewel to Akrur. He says, "Why don't you keep it with yourself and stay in Dwarka, so that all the residents of Dwarka can be well rested, thinking that, everything is going to be okay and there is not going to be any disturbance." Acharya has revealed that when Lord Krishna is present, there cannot be any disturbances. But this is the nature of material energy, where our senses bewilder us and we think that we need to have support from various kind of objects, various kind of amenities and gadgets. So this is where this chapter ends, and the blessing as we read is this narration. So this is a very important thing. The most important thing is that when we hear about the Syamantaka Jewel story, Lord is revealing, and this Shukdev Goswami is revealing to Parikshit Maharaj, that this narration, which is rich with descriptions of the prowess of Lord Shri Vishnu, Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, removes sinful reactions and bestows all auspiciousness. So just by, this narration, hearing this narration, we get the blessings that all our sinful reactions are washed off. And all auspiciousness prevail. And on a special day like today, where we are, observing Pandav Nijala Ekadashi, all auspiciousness is all around us. Anyone who recites, hears or remembers it will drive away his own infamy and sins and attain peace. So all the sins have been driven away, all the infamy is driven away. So we become transcendental to all these factors and we attain peace. Because once we are at peace, then we can be happy. And Srila Prabhupada gave a very simple example of how can we be happy. Just by raising our hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So quickly I want to recite the story of Jamvan's birth. So once it just so happened that Lord Vishnu, Padmanabh Vishnu, from his navel had sprouted this lotus, and Lord Brahma was sitting on this lotus, right? In the early days of yore. And from the wax of Lord Vishnu came these 2 demons, Madhu, Katab. And they started tormenting Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma started calling out for Lord Vishnu to save him. And Lord Vishnu, in the form of a face of a horse, so again, he is fighting with Madhu and Katab. And so Lord Vishnu is fighting with Madhu, Katab. At that time, it appears like Madhu, Katab are going to win. And so Lord Brahma, when he was watching, this fight between Lordship and Madhu and Ketab, he starts to get this sweat on his forehead. And from his sweat appears Jamvan. And Jamvan, he's in this form of a yaksha, of a great bear. And he's saying, you have given me birth, what should I do? Now Lord Brahma is already getting tense by this fight that's going on. And now there is this personality who has suddenly appeared and he's asking, what should I do? He says, why don't you watch this? Be a spectator to this fight. So Jamvan starts watching this fight between Madhu, Ketab and Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu is fighting with Madhu and Ketab. And Jamvan is cheering for Lord Krishna. So yes, cheerleadership was started there. The first cheerleader was Jamvan himself. And he is clapping. Yes, very nice, very nice. You're beating, you have two opponents, you're alone fighting and you're fighting so amazingly. And he's cheering for Lord Vishnu, encouraging him and relishing this great fight. So Lord Vishnu, he kills Madhu and Ketab. And then he comes back. And he says to Jamvan, I'm very pleased with your service. Your service as a cheerleader. Our first cheerleader, right? In the spiritual world is Jamvan. So he is saying, I'm very happy. So I'll give you a boon. I'll give you, the main box, the inner appearance to all my pastimes. Now Jamvan is feeling so blessed. First of all, he appeared from Lord Brahma, so he is Brahmaputra. And then, second, he has received this boon and all appearances of Lord's, in all of Lord's appearances, he would have, an appearance and he would be able to relish those pastimes. He is in complete bliss. Yet at the same time, he is feeling that he has also been not just blessed with that, but also he has been blessed with amazing power. So when Vamandev appears, Jamvan appears. And when Lord Vamandev asks for 3 pieces of land, Jamvan is there. And then when Bali Maharaj gives this vow that yes, I'll give you 3 pieces of land. In the first piece, as Trivikrama form, in the gigantic form, Lord Vamandev expands into, so that form is called Trivikrama. First step, he crosses the whole of earth. The second step, he has crossed to the end of the universe. When he is crossing this end of the universe and the Ganges water, washing the Vraj river has washed his feet and be collected by Lord Brahma. At that time, Jamvan had this amazing, he was saying, wow, so amazing Lordship is. So he uses his power, he's got this yogic mystic power, and he circumambulates Lord in Trivikrama form. So Lord is crossing the universe and he's going around Lord, paying obeisances. So when we, take parikrama at the temple, this is in awe and reverence and in our, mood of respect, we are worshipping Lord. So he is taking this parikrama and he's feeling so blissful. But sometimes when you have too much bliss coming in, there is a tendency of pride to creep in, right? That's one of the creepers to our, that can develop in our heart, right beside the creeper of devotional service. So the pride comes in his heart that I am so powerful that when he had taken such a amazing form and he had, crossed over and completely taken the whole of universe from Bali Maharaj, I was circumambulating him. I was the only personality. So in his pride, while walking, he sees Meru Parvat. Meru Parvat is very tall and heavy. So he hits Meru Parvat, to shake it, and the Meru Parvat shakes. Now Meru also happens to be, all these mountains, they used to have life. So he says, oh, Meru Parvat says to Jamvan, you think I am old, so you can kick me. You become old. So right then and there, Jamvan becomes old. And his power diminishes immensely because of this curse from Meru Parvat. So when he appears during the Lord Ram's time, and they were supposed to jump over from to Sri Lanka from Cape Comorin, so Kanyakumari we call it. So all these Vanasena, all the personalities, they are thinking who can jump over. Angad says, I have enough strength to jump from here to Sri Lanka, but then I won't have any strength to come back. And Jamvan says, oh, there was one time I could even travel across the whole universe. What about this? But now I have become old because of the curse, so I cannot jump over. Yet at the same time, the characteristic of Jamvan was that he was a great leader. So the characteristic of a leader is to incite and reveal amazing secrets. So he reveals this secret that there is one personality amongst us who has this capability to jump over to Lanka and also come back. Just, like it's a toy thing. Just like it's a game, it's a minor activity. So, and he reveals that it is Hanuman who has the Ashta Siddhis, and he can become bigger than the biggest, and he can jump, in one jump he can go to Lanka and then he can come back as well. So this is a quality of a great leader. And same Jamvan now appears in Krishna Leela, where he gives his own heart in the form of his daughter to Lord Krishna in marriage. And he has this boon being fulfilled where he wanted to have a fight with Lord Ramchandra, but because Lord Ramchandra was, he was on the side of Lord Ramchandra, there is no way he could fight. But then Lord Krishna, he satisfies this desire to fight with him. And Lord Krishna derives pleasure. So this is another thing. Even in, this is a secondary bhav, right? To have dvanda, to have a fight with Lord. Yet at the same time, when one satisfies Lord Krishna, even with that service, Lord is pleased. And then Lord bestows such amazing boons, and one is able to get even a higher position than Lordship. Because a father-in-law is considered a higher position than, than the groom. So here, Jamvan is given such a nice position by Lord Krishna. And Jamvati is his second wife. So this is where this chapter ends, and one of the things that we talked about is materialistic things don't give us happiness. So Srila Prabhupada used to narrate this story about demigod worshippers who are basically not really doing worship to please the demigods, but rather doing it for their own sense gratification. This has been highly discouraged because it leads to fall down. In the long cycle, it always leads to fall down, of the worshipper. So there was this demigod worshipper who was worshipping goddess Durga, and he was worshipping for some specific benediction. And he says that if I get this benediction, then I will sacrifice a goat. So goddess Durga, understanding that he will sacrifice a goat, grants him this benediction. Now this demigod worshipper, when his benediction and his boon has come, he has been granted this, he receives the fruit. He goes to the temple, but he doesn't offer the goat as he had promised. Now goddess Durga once says, why don't you offer a goat? You have promised me, now you have received the fruit of the, I have given you the blessing, you have received the fruits, now you should offer what you promised. He says, well, it is very hard to find a goat. Maybe I'll offer you a pig in sacrifice, a hog. She says, okay, whatever it is, at least offer that. He doesn't even do that. So after some time she says, you promised me at least a hog, you're not even offering that. He says, well, maybe a fly, because a hog is too difficult and too abominable a creature to offer. So maybe a fly. And she says, okay, offer a fly, at least offer a fly. He says, well, there are so many flies, flying all around you, why don't you take one? So this is like a highly ungrateful attitude of a demigod worshipper. Why? Because the mode is that of taking. And then, by the taking, they further fall down. So that is a path that has been, again and again identified by acharyas, is a path of one's fall down and one's suffering. So one constantly suffers if they are constantly seeking demigod worship with that perspective. However, when one approaches demigods to attain devotional service, to attain a higher path in spiritual progress, now that is highly regarded. Where once disciple of Srila Prabhupada, they came to him and said that this person is a bhakta of Lord Shiva, he is a devotee of Lord Shiva. So Srila Prabhupada says if he is seeking like a demigod worshipper for his sense gratification, then of course we know that he will not be benefited. However, if he worships Lord Shiva, understanding that Lord Shiva is the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna, if he worships with that mode for the satisfaction of Lord Shiva and asks for devotional service, asks for engagement in the various services and helping Lord Shiva in his service, then he would benefit. So that is the mode of a devotee. A good devotee is one who is giving. Normally when people go, to temple, they have 3 different modes, and it's revealed in Bhagavad Gita. Some people, they worship God in the mode of ignorance. like thinking that, okay, I have been just asked to come over here. When we were kids, we were like that. Our parents would take us to the temple, say bow down, we bow down, say get up, we get up. Why are we doing that? We didn't understand. We just followed, right, in ignorance. Now, after some times, the parents, when we grew a little older, they told us, Lord is the supreme proprietor of all material and spiritual universes. Everything is coming from Him. So now if you want something, you ask from Him. So this is where the business starts, right? The business mentality starts, the trading with Lord. Oh Lord, make me top in the class, I will offer you nariyal and 500 rupees, I will perform a great aarti for you. So this trade exchange starts. But it's in the mode of passion, still better than the mode of ignorance, because previously you didn't know. You're at least coming to God for some reason. Then when you become a little more intelligent, mode of goodness, you realize, wait a minute, what am I doing? I am using God as my order supplier. Rather, He should be using me as His order supplier. And we hear and we learn from the example of great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, like the 6 Goswamis, who were constantly serving Lord. So there is a sevaya, the object of worship. Then there is sevak, the servant who is the order supplier who is serving. And there is seva. So seva is the devotional service. So we should always be in that mood of devotional service. And people who are in the mood of goodness, they worship, God in that form. Yet at the same time, Sutta Goswami is glorifying that no matter what you want, you should come to the shelter of Lord Krishna. Why? Why should you come to the shelter of Lord Krishna? Because Lord Krishna is so merciful that He is not just like a demigod, just give you what it is. If He sees that what He is giving you is going to hurt you, sometimes He may withdraw it. He say, no, it is going to hurt you very much, so I will withdraw it. But He sees that if He does not give you that, what you are looking for, that will cause your fall down. He may give it to you, but take away that bad quality that you may have for you to fall down. So that's why there is a very nice verse being recited by Sutta Goswami. Akamaha sarva kamo va moksha kama udara dihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Akamaha. Even if you have no desire for sense gratification, but you just want to serve Lord Krishna with love and devotion. If you have this. And then the second category, sarva kamova. And even if you have all kind of material desires, name, fame, glories, wealth, prosperity, all those things, anything that you want, beauty, richness, riches and so forth. So again, any of those desires you have, sarva kamova. Even if you have moksha kama, the third type is liberation. If you want to attain liberation, if you want to merge into Brahman, if that's what you desire, or if you want to attain Vaikuntha planets, moksha kamova, you are tired of this material world. You are saying this is dukhalaya shashvatam. This is a place of misery and this is impermanent. Nothing is permanent here now. Happiness is not permanent. Well, misery, even a second of misery looks like a year long. So, and a happiness of a year long looks like size of a second. So this is not right. Time is relative. What can we say? So mokshikama, you are tired of a tivrena bhakti. So even if you have any of these three desires, with great enthusiasm, with great determination, with great love and devotion, you should engage. Yajate Purusham Param. Who's Purusham Param? Who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Lord Shri Krishna. So we should engage in worshipping Lord Shri Krishna. So that is the mood one should approach. Because Lord Krishna is so merciful that He only seeks our benefit. If He grants us something, that means He is granting it for our purification, even that purifies us. If He doesn't grant us something, that is also for our purification, because He knows that it will cause our fall down. So one should, instead of thinking, why was this wish not realized, one should pray. And the topmost prayer is chanting of the holy name, for asking for service so that we can get to serve with love and devotion, just by raising our hand and chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So please join us for Nasimadev prayers.
श्रीमद सिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।